Throughout history, music has defined generations. Pop culture sparked revolutions, promoted peace, and is cherished by almost everyone in society. Nothing beats a good slap. You wouldn't steal it, would you? Although this seems a bit cheesy, Steve and I wanted to figure out why people are doing it and its impact on the music industry. So we're about to go interview Justin at the Hall studio right now.
That's what I'm packing. Does it real good. That's what I'm packing. Does it real good. That's what I'm packing. Does it real good.
Is this thing recording?
Yeah, it is. It is recording. The microphone's like on the bottom.
Okay.
So
All
just hit the
right, cool. Justin Phelps, recording engineer and studio manager. Oh, the Howlett Halls.
Gotcha.
Yeah. I've been working professionally as an engineer for 20 years. Before that, I was a booking agent. And then I was just a guy playing in bands when I was a teenager.
Yeah.
Pirating, I think the biggest impact from that would have been around 2001. And at that point, it was a major reduction in income from record sales. The immediate result of that was, boy, it had to be at least a 50% cut in budgets that record labels were offering to bands to make albums, which affected the recording studios a lot. A lot of them closed right away, all the bigger ones, and also affected the way people make records. And so a lot of people were driven into basement studios and recording at home for professional albums, which was something that would definitely be reserved only for demos and things like that before. It's interesting if you go back and listen to albums from the 90s, which was the most profitable period in the music industry because of record sales, compared to albums from the 2000s when there was very little budget for making albums. Generally, the sound quality is far inferior to the 2000s ones. So then what happened after that is recording equipment became less expensive because there weren't all the big studios around to pay for the really top dollar stuff.
Yeah.
A lot of stuff started really relying heavily on computers for production. You could do more with less equipment that way. That might also have something to do with the sound quality. So I don't know if it sounds better or worse. You know, I've one of the more expensive ones out there. But I do know one thing is that it's changed the way we do things. It used to be that you would mix on a board and you would do about one song a day, because the band had tens of thousands of dollars at least to spend on the mix. Now we'll try to, crank out up to 5 or 6 songs a day sometimes, depending on what their budget is, So we've adapted, right? And the records I'm making these days still sound pretty great. But we've had to do things differently because of budgets, and the budgets being a result of absence of physical album sales.
Back then, if you had a hit song, you had $1 million. Because the deal was artists got 10 to 12% of album sales, right? Albums are about $12 a piece. And so, do the math on it. Yeah. If you have a hit song, you're going to have a platinum record, because there was no other way to get the music. People wanted to own the song to listen to it. They couldn't download it. That didn't exist yet, right?
It's a lot harder to get platinum records nowadays.
Hardly anybody gets them.
Yeah.
There's maybe 4 or 5 a year, right? But they were very common back then. I have one.
You have a platinum record?
Yeah, from Cake.
From Cake. You recorded Cake.
I did. You've seen it on the wall in there.
I didn't know that was you.
Yeah, the workforce inside studios is much smaller. I mean, when I started in recording studios in the 90s, I had a job that doesn't really exist much anymore, which is second engineer. We also used to have at least one in-house tech, often two. Most of the bigger studios I worked at down in the Bay Area had a couple techs that were just there in case something went wrong. A piece of gear went down, you just call them, they'd come and just fix it on the spot, and you just keep going. That doesn't exist anymore, which is another thing that's driven things into computers, because there's a lot less to go wrong in a computer than there is in, 40 or 50 pieces of outboard equipment.
You don't have to pay them either.
They're affecting the music industry now.
Well, they're adding income.
Really?
Absolutely, yeah. I mean, I think, piracy is kind of a thing of the past, don't you? Mm-hmm. Streaming has become a solution for that, right? Now, it's still picking up steam. The problem is there's still things like YouTube around, which are criminal in the way that they hand people's music out for free. Music is something that people should be paid for. Musicians dedicate their entire life for it. They have a very special skill that most people don't have to be able to create it in the first place. It's their intellectual property, right? It shouldn't be free. They should be able to make a good living making music because it's valuable and it's important to all of us in our culture, right? So people should pay as much money as possible for music. That way musicians can become better and better musicians, and we can have better music to listen to.
Thank you so
Cool, man. All right.
That was really.
Should I hit
really
stop on this thing?
Yeah.
Okay.